and GoPro is more like Stop Pro. All right, we're keeping an eye on that, also keeping an eye on the Zika virus and growing concerns. Dr. Devi Nampiaparampil, I hope I got that right, doctor?
You did.
I did? I just guessed. No, Doc, I kid. You know, you've heard these warnings that are going out about those who are very anxious about even going to Brazil for the Olympics, not just because the country's president was impeached, but that this virus could get out of control. How do you advise people on how big a deal this is, what they should do?
Well, there are a couple different things to consider. I mean, we don't want to create a panic, right? So people should try to do things to protect themselves from mosquitoes, of course, maybe consider limiting their travel, perhaps. But at the same time, I think the real solution is really to invest in figuring out treatments or ways to stop these mosquitoes in the long term from spreading Zika.
What happens? Who's the most vulnerable? Like, I guess the closest it's come to our country is Puerto Rico, right?
Yes.
But what do you look for? Does it take a while to evidence itself? I mean, how do we not know that there are people already in the country who have it, they just don't know it?
Well, you bring up a good point. So people who get infected with Zika, for the most part, the person who gets infected is okay. So they may have no symptoms, in fact. Sometimes they have mild viral symptoms. So for the most part, those people are not at risk. The problem is that if they're pregnant, let's say it's someone who's trying to get pregnant as well or doesn't know if she's pregnant or not, the virus can actually attack the baby. So that's where the danger comes in because the fetus can't fight Zika as well. And so you can have babies born maybe 9 months later who have microcephaly, which is a small head, or other neurologic complications. You could also have miscarriages because maybe the baby doesn't make it that far. And of course, if you're a man who's trying to be a father, now there's some reports that you could spread Zika through sex. So, you know, it is difficult to tell if you've been infected, and even if you've been infected, if you're passing it on to a baby.
That's what I'm wondering, especially for males coming back, let's say taking a business trip abroad, might not know. Now, the State Department, you know, the Health Administration has not issued procedures for this. Should they, or are they urging calm and they don't want to freak everybody out?
I think it's better to avoid creating a panic because it's not automatic that someone who's traveling will bring it back. And at the same time, if you're older and you're not trying to father a child, or, you know, the risk is much lower, of course, because the person themselves is at low risk. It's just the baby that potentially could be at more risk. But at the same time, I mean, there are a lot of things that we could work on to make this situation better, right? People are looking at genetically engineering mosquitoes. They're looking at using bacteria to fight the virus.
I think that's an awful idea. I'm not an expert, but I've seen a number of science fiction movies where they try to do stuff like this and it gets out of control. So this idea of engineering mosquitoes that can then kill off those mosquitoes, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know for sure, but I think those things have to be investigated because if you think about
Well, I guess you didn't see the latest Planet of the Apes because it went out of control.
Well, the thing is, you know, I'm not saying that that is definitely the way to go, but if you're going to look at those possibilities, because we all get mosquito bites, especially in the summer, right? And the CDC is saying these particular mosquitoes will be here. They might even reach New York, right? So we have to look at different ways to be able to fight those mosquitoes. I'm not saying that's definitely the answer, but at least if you're going to look at it, then explore it fully so you know what the potential complications would be, right?
You're very calming, doctor. I was freaking out right before I chatted with you, and not just about pronouncing your last name. Very good having you. That was very nice of you. I appreciate it.
Oh, nice to see you.